evening with your CIGTV News Update. I'm Donna Bush. Thanks for joining us. In our top story, hundreds of teachers attended the annual Education Professionals Welcome today at the Mary Miller Hall. Various senior education officials such as Chief Education Officer Lynette Monteith and Education Council Chair Mr. Danny Scott addressed the assembled educators. Meanwhile, Minister Juliana O'Connor-Connolly, who hosted the event, was also the main speaker. In lively and well-received remarks, the minister shared her planned initiatives as well as successes and challenges for the year ahead. A highlight was her restatement of her commitment to improve teachers' pay.
We did your remuneration. That attracted quite a bit of criticism because I was told straight up that you cannot get better teachers by paying them. Well, which world do you live in? Because when you go to Wooders Foster's, who has everything in the world that you could find in America, you better know you have money. And teachers eat just like we eat. They have children and needs just like we have. And as I went out on a limb last year, I'm going out on an even bigger limb this year. So I'll prove your love for me, right, guys?
CIGTV will bring you more news from the welcome and the new school year over the next few days. This will include more details of proposed changes to remuneration. Meanwhile, stay tuned to the Ministry of Education website as well as the Facebook page for official updates as government schools prepare to open. Also in education news today, the Education Ministry recently updated local contractors on work to complete the new John Gray High School campus. The John Gray campus is one of 3 construction projects that will create a new education complex. To complete the new John Gray campus, contractors will convert the partially constructed structures into a contiguous high school building complex. Now, the project is expected to be ready when school opens at the start of the school year, beginning August of 2021. Among proposed users of a refurbished George Hicks High School site are programs such as the Cayman Islands Further Education Center, the Department of Education Services, Student Services, Parenting and Pregnant Teens, and the University College of the Cayman Islands. This would be substantially complete by February of 2022. And finally, the current CIFECT site will be demolished to construct the field. This would be substantially completed by September of 2022. Now, Education Minister, the Honourable Juliana O'Connor-Connolly, also had this to say about the project.
I'm expected that the stakeholders that we are engaging with today here at the stadium, the gymnasium, that they will take the challenge that I put out, that we will get not only a world-class educational institution here in Cayman in the name of the John Gray High School that's being proposed, but they will infuse it with passion and commitment and pride, that they'll have an opportunity to be active contributors to the next generation and the generations to come, but also that we can provide for our children, which are not only in the future, but the present, the best possible facility. We spent a lot of man hours into this. The government is entirely committed to see this project through, and I've asked them to come not only on budget, but under budget and under the proposed time. I would like to deliver this, if at all possible, and by the help of Almighty God, by December 2020. That's a tall order, but I believe with God all things are possible. For a long time we've built our tourism, we've built our finance. It's now time for education to be not only the front runner, but be the front runner. And as minister, and with the help of God, the support of my colleagues and the community, yes, we can not only achieve, but we can produce some of the brightest minds in the Caribbean, if not the world.
The Education Minister gave officials presentations on each construction project, including familiarizing contractors with the bidding process. They also sought feedback from contractors on the procurement routes available. Contractors also received a tour of the project site. In our final story today, the Department of Environment is earning some kudos in the local press for ensuring that Cayman waters are as safe as possible for marine life. Cayman News Service notes that last week, department researchers brought in a fish aggregation device found off the East End coast that could have posed a threat to the reef, marine life, and sea vessels. The device is known as FADS, requires a permit for use in Cayman Islands waters. They're used by fishermen to lure or aggregate various species of sea life. This fad was buoyed by a number of styrofoam floats encased in a net, which would have eventually broken down, releasing thousands of small styrofoam particles over time. Thankfully, the device caused minimal damage to the surrounding reef and was quickly removed to prevent further harm. This was the second fad retrieved from Cayman waters in the past few months. The previous one was found at the end of July offshore of the Rum Point Channel. Okay, as always, if you missed today's news update, you can go online to get the details on our Cayman Islands government Facebook page, as well as the CIGTV YouTube channel. For now, I'm Donna Bush. As always, thanking you for joining us, wishing you a wonderful and safe night, and hoping you'll join us again tomorrow. Until then, bye-bye for now.
The Esterly-Tibbetts Highway 3-lane roundabout is ready for drivers. It's time to make sure you know how to use it. First, know which exit you need to take. Pay attention to lane arrows and signs. Make sure you use your signal to change lanes or exit the roundabout. To turn left, you always approach in the left-hand lane and indicate left. To drive straight ahead, you need to be looking out for signs and road markings indicating which lane to use. Get in one of the lanes marked with a straight-through arrow. If turning right, you must use the right-hand lane and indicate accordingly. To use the roundabout safely, remember these 3 tips. Know your exit, pick your lane, and signal to make your turn.
I'm Jody Ann Powery. I'm the Police Media Officer with the RCIPS, and I'm here to give you some crime prevention tips on how to best protect your property. The first thing that we want to discuss is our points of entries. Let's start with the front door, and then we'll move on to the windows and the back doors or sliding glass doors. The first thing to consider is the front door. This particular front door has 2 deadbolt locks. One of these deadbolt locks are properly carpentered and the other is not. When your door is properly locked, you'll hear a click at the end and the deadbolts are not able to move. If it is slightly opened, then you can push the deadbolt back without having any restrictions. I'll now proceed to show you what your lock should look like when it is properly locked. When it comes to your windows, you want to make sure that your window is locked all the way down, because even though the lock is on, if it's not all the way down, it can still be pried. The proper way to lock the window is to make sure that the window goes all the way down to the seal and then you pull across the lock. When you have a sliding glass door at home, you want to make sure that you have secondary locking devices in addition to the lock that comes with the door. One of those can be a simple piece of wood that's jamming the doorway. We want to encourage you to ensure that you don't make things easy for burglars who are looking for opportunities to break into property by leaving your property out in plain view. Some of these items are your car keys, your electronics, and your handbags. Make sure that you put these properties away when you're leaving the house or when you're going to bed. When you're going camping or if you're taking your family on a trip, you want to ensure that your property has some sign of life. This can be done by leaving a light on or putting timers on your lights. And we want to ensure that our family homes are safe. In order to do so, we encourage that people take the proper precautions by starting up neighborhood watches or encouraging family members or persons they trust to check on their properties while they're away.
Did you know that planning permission is required for a shed? Did you know you should check with the department as a planning and permit application may be required?